Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is We Need to Talk, the dating and relationship coaching and strategizing platform. My name is Marcus K. Jr. I am your host, and this is episode 411. Thank you, and special shout out to everybody who has been supporting the broadcast, paying attention, putting in the feedback, putting in the comments, liking, subscribing, sharing. Much appreciation to all of the support that's been coming through for this broadcast. Again, I started it a year ago, and a year and change. I started at April 1st, 2020, and haven't taken a day off since. This has been a great ride, and it's something that's continues to be a blessing, and I appreciate everybody who's been a part of it so far. So tonight I wanted to do just a quick live on the concept of self-sabotaging. I think just in relationships and dating period, a lot of times we can find ourselves in some of these toxic cycles, and we can find ourselves in dating patterns that prevent us from being able to maintain connections with people who may be right for us while still choosing to be in relationships with people who are not right and still fighting for those connections. Kind of my perspective on how to really know if you are the catalyst, or you are the common denominator, or the maybe unknown initiator of not only this cycle, but also not being able to break it. So shout out to you, Wilmer. What's going on? Good to see you. So so let's talk self-sabotage, right? In essence, it's rooted in fear. You are afraid to go for what you actually want, for fear of rejection, for fear of not finding it, and for fear of it being found out that you are not of value enough or worthy enough to have it. And these aren't facts. These are the irrational belief system, thought processes that occur when you are actively self-sabotaging. Now, this can last long periods of time. This can be the root cause of cycles that become pervasive, that become perpetual, right? When you find yourself in a cycle of choosing non-communicators, choosing those who ghost and abandon, choosing narcissists, when you find yourself in these choosing patterns, the fear at the root keeps you there, keeps you connected to the familiarity that may trace back, or in most cases traces back to childhood time frames, right? So what's familiar is safe, and safety is chosen over getting what you actually want and deserve, and what's actually healthy for you. And sometimes it may be difficult to know what's healthy, because you may be in a point where you haven't experienced anything healthy yet. So you may not even know what that looks like. So the fear of going to venture out and try to find out what that is, keeps you rooted, and you become an agent of your own sabotage, because you constantly choose toxic partners that connect with your toxicity and the mindset that you already have, and you are unable to release yourself, or you feel that you aren't capable of taking yourself out of the cycle that you have continued to perpetuate. So if not choosing toxic partners, what about healthy partners? Well, self-sabotage comes into play there, when you do break pattern and choose a healthy partner, but the fear still remains. So you act as if you're in a hostile environment when you're not. What does that mean? Well, a healthy partner would not be narcissistic, would not be a cheater, would not be somebody who verbally abuses you. Right now, if you're used to this and that's your comfort, when that person acts in a healthy way, it's threatening to your ability to predict your environment. When you're in a toxic cycle, you can predict your environment because you're choosing it. So when you choose a toxic partner, you can bet that they'll be toxic. When you choose somebody who's centered, who's at peace, who's healthy, that's a threat to the very fabric of your ability to predict your environment. And that leads to you feeling out of control and, in essence, vulnerable to multiple possibilities. When you choose toxic partners, you can bank on that train's never late. They're going to be toxic at some point. Then you could say, okay, I knew this was coming. I knew it. But with a healthy partner, they're not going to act like that. So when they start to get closer to you, present themselves, express themselves, utilize healthy communication, right? You're wondering, at what point is the bomb going to go off? When is this bracing for impact, right? Waiting for them to flip, waiting for them to change, waiting for the real them to come out, waiting for them to verbally abuse, waiting for them to leave you and abandon you, gaslight, things like that. And when they don't do that, when you're in the self-sabotaging mindset, you now have to, in your mind, provoke them to become that, so you recreate your predictable environment. So now, this healthy person, I'm going to provoke them. No matter what they say, I'm going to say that your tone was offensive. I'm going to poke and prod at them. I'm going to nag them about things that don't make sense. I'm going to be contradictory. I'm not going to listen. I'm never going to take accountability. So I'm going to start fires, start fights and conflict, and then never take accountability. So I'm, in essence, creating a conflict mechanism that would force that person to become toxic, become verbally abusive, and abandon me. Do you see how irrational that is? So in one hand, you so-called left the toxic arena and stop dating toxic people, only to carry your toxins to a healthy person and try to instill and implant toxicity into them and provoke them over their limits into becoming a toxic person. Just so you can feel safe and familiar in your own toxic environment. A lot of times we think, okay, my ex was toxic, so I'm just going to pick somebody else. What about your toxicity? You, wherever you go, there you are. If you carry toxicity as well, first of all, you can't be in a long-term relationship with a toxic partner and not have toxicity within you. The two don't mix. Now, their toxicity may look different than yours. You may express your toxicity by taking hits, enduring relentless verbal assaults. Their toxicity may look like offense, maybe offensively throwing insults and hostility. Both are toxic, both carry fear and imbalance. Simple. So, the two toxicities come together, they mesh, form a toxic relationship. You separate, go choose a healthy person, but never change the toxicity within. You are now an infectious agent. You are carrying toxicity from person to person. And when they're not toxic, you're making them. I've seen it happen a million times. So I say self-sabotage happens in two different ways. It's choosing the toxic partner, changing the face and choosing toxic dating cycles, or it's choosing the healthy person before you get healed and trying to push them and sabotage the relationship with that person until you make them either A, become toxic, or B, leave you. Then you can say, see, they just abandon you. They just leave you. They just disappear. They don't fight for it. Are we understanding how this works and how deep it can be? There's an art to this almost. So I say the cycle starts and ends with you. The work should be prioritized. Your balance, your growth, your healing, your wholeness should be prioritized above dating. You date at the wrong time, you date before you're healed, you're only bringing more self-punishment into the game. You're only sabotaging your own healing. You're not bringing in somebody that's helping, because when they help, your perspective and vision and fear-based mechanism is still active. You're gonna fight them the whole way. And the better it's supposed to get, or the more intimate you become connected emotionally, the more scared you're gonna get, because you're now in an unpredictable environment. That's an indication right there. You don't need to be in the game on either side of the ball. There's work that needs to be done. You need to sit on the bench, the injured reserve, and get yourself back together. And fortunately, this is what I do. So if you are somebody who feels like you're on both sides of these coins, and you can't find yourself to be able to balance, those fears, that old trauma, and you find yourself consistently doing or utilizing self-sabotage, and it's ruining you and it's causing a lot of emotional pain, definitely be sure to click the link in the description, www.patreon.com/happinessdecoded101. We can do a free consult. I'm down for that. I can always help with perspective, as far as so you can see the bigger picture and be able to have the strategies to shift the programming. Because again, childhood in combination with your relationship history and emotional pain compounded across the years is something that it's not going to go away on its own. It's not something that disappears. It's not something that time heals. Time compounds it, because if you're acting from a certain perspective, if your thought process is corrupted, your actions will be corrupted. You're going to choose the same way every time, until we get under the hood and be able to, make those shifts and make those positive changes. So be sure to contact me, get in tune with me. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you share, make sure you subscribe, be a part of this. I've been doing this 411 days straight. No days off, because I know the healing is necessary, and I know the repetition is necessary to help you guys to grow, heal, and evolve. So I'm still, pedal to the gas, foot to the pedal, and always prioritizing your healing and your progress. So make contact with me. I'm always available, and I will see you guys tomorrow night.